Hello and welcome to Hill and Ponton's Social Security Disability blog. I'm Natalia Jofre, our Social Security Section Director.
And I am Shelly Mark. I am our Senior Social Security Attorney.
So our last couple of blogs we've talked about when you get to the hearing day, what to expect the day of your hearing, who's in the hearing or what happens. And now we're going to talk about one of the main experts that they're now calling on a lot of hearings. This used to not be as common as it is now, but it's a vocational expert.
That's correct.
We get calls all the time. Who is this person? What are they going to do? Are they going to be opposing me in terms of... So can you explain to people what a vocational expert is and
Sure.
what, I guess, their function is in the hearing?
Sure. The vocational expert is now used in 99% of all the hearings that we do. Their role in the hearing is to advise the judge and give testimony on the type of work that the client used to do, and then the type of work that they could or could not do depending on their physical or their mental limitations.
Okay.
The one important thing for clients to know is that the vocational expert will be answering questions from the judge and from the attorney, but they will not be asking them any questions unless it's simply to verify or clarify some type of what they did in the past.
So it's not as if though they're going to ask the claimant directly questions or what did you do or what didn't you do or how intense was this or that?
No, they will not. If they have a question for the client about any of the work that they used to do, they would ask that to the judge, and then the judge would ask the client that question.
Okay.
But what they're basically there to do, in a nutshell, is they're to describe the claimant's past work, and then they're going to say whether or not they can do that past work or other work based on the limitations that the judge tells them. So the judge is going to say, well, if this person were limited to only standing or walking 2 hours a day and only lifting 10 pounds throughout the day, could they perform their job as a heavy equipment operator?
Okay.
And then that vocational expert is, in their opinion, going to say whether they could perform that job or whether they could perform other work. And without getting too complicated, this ties back to one of our previous, or a few of our previous blogs when we talked about how important it was to accurately describe the past work of the claimant.
Because a lot of their information or a lot of what they know or they think they know, they're going off of that form you previously completed, right?
That's correct. They're going off of that form and the testimony. But I have had judges find the client to be not credible because their testimony was not matching that form, which is why Natalia and I have been very adamant that those forms are really, really important all the way to the actual hearing day.
And this is why.
Yes.
That's
exactly right.
The judges started, we mentioned that you used to not have to always have a vocational expert. And, you don't have to have one, but most judges now are electing to have them because it really does provide them with objective evidence, per se, or objective testimony.
Right.
Before judges would make their decisions and they were very rarely questioned and so on and so forth. Whereas to now they're under a great deal of scrutiny to not approve claimants or to make sure that they're approving claimants that they're absolutely certain are disabled. They're under a lot of pressure.
They are.
And so this is kind of like to offset that pressure where this objective party, is there to just provide testimony based on their work history and what their expert opinion is.
Right. And a lot of people think that this is an employee of Social Security, and that's not true. The Social Security Administration does pay them for their service, but they are not in any way, shape, or form connected to Social Security. Most of these individuals have worked as job coaches or vocational experts or with vocational rehabilitation for decades. And the majority of them, do a really good job at classifying the client's past work and then answering the judge's questions.
Okay, great. Next blog, we'll talk about medical expert, which is the other kind of expert you can have at a hearing. So if you'd like, join us then. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to visit our website or call our office. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.